tweet that out. Well, first of all, you're right about, undeniably, we can't be nostalgic about a past that's gone. I agree with that. Nostalgia, the Arabs call it like al-hanin lil-madi, like just the Arabs have a poetry where they look at, qifa nabki, like just stop, let's cry over the remnants of what was here before. It's a very Arab motif in a lot of their poetry. And so we can't do that. Globalization is a reality, but the homogenization that much of globalization comes with is not a foregone conclusion. And that's why I think it's very dangerous for cultures to allow this type of homogenization where you lose the distinctive qualities that make you who you are. And this is, identity politics is very big right now for the very reason that so many identities are being obliterated in the face of this globalizing force that's reimagining the world in its own image. Much of it's still Western. And I'm a Western person. My own ancestors came from Ireland and migrated to America on one side, on my mother's Irish side in the 1760s, and in my father's side in the 1830s. The Irish were under English occupation for over 700 years, and their tongues were cut out for speaking Gaelic. And so the Irish no longer speak their language either. The Welsh are relearning Welsh because their language was taken from them also. So this is one of the sins of the past. I don't blame modern English for this. And the English have an incredible contribution to human civilization. They have a lot of sins, like any great civilization, but they also have a lot of incredible contributions. They outlawed the transatlantic slavery. They were the ones that did that. They policed the Atlantic to stop the transatlantic slavery. It was people like Hannah More, incredible woman that everybody should know about, or William Wilberforce, or the Clapham 12. These were great people, and they were people of real sincerity, very often Christian, motivated by their Christian belief. So the past is gone, and we're in the present, but at the same time, you do have a culture, you have traditions, you have ways of being that are your own, and they enhance you, they don't diminish you. And so it's very important to honor those things. I think Singapore has far more to teach me than I have to teach Singapore, and that's the truth. I think this is an extraordinary example of human possibility. The fact that you have so much diversity in your ethnicities, and yet there's so much mutual respect. I mean, this is something stunning, and you should be incredibly proud of it, not in a way that makes you arrogant or feeling superior to other cultures, but in a way that I think places a burden on you to spread this in other places that are suffering so greatly. I think you have far more to teach Arab culture right now than the Arabs have to teach you. I really believe this. And I love the Arabs. I spent much of my life studying Arab language, Arab culture, not just the Islamic aspect of it, but the pre-Islamic and their literature that wasn't really Islamic. And I love the Arabs. Hubb al-Arab min al-Iman. And I believe that. I'm not a Shu'ubi by any stretch. But I think the Arab culture is in deep crisis right now. And I think that some of the things that you have done here are things that need to be exported to places like Syria, where for one of the great testimonies of Islam is that the great churches that were oppressed by the Byzantine church, which was my grandfather on my mother's side was Orthodox. I was actually raised in the Orthodox tradition. The great church of the East was the Orthodox church, but it was very repressive. It oppressed the Chaldean church, the Nestorian church, the Ebionitic church, all these Semitic traditions that ended up in India for some reason. So I think it's really important to acknowledge that things have changed, but at the same time, there are things that are constant in you. That the word identity is from a Greek word which means the same. That's what we call identical, because it's what remains the same that gives you your identity. If you lose that quality, you lose your identity. So you don't want, I mean, one of the things the world is suffering from today is what I call spiritual Alzheimer's disease. They've forgotten that they have a soul, that we're not just matter, that we're also immaterial. And this is something very important. In terms of the youth, the youth have challenges today that are unprecedented.